Hello and welcome to Blossom with Dr. Nancy. Our episode today is on infidelity, and this is one of the issues we mentioned in our previous episode that affects couples in their marriages and causes them to go through a lot of pain, some resulting in even separation and divorce. When we talk about infidelity, it's really generally where a partner chooses to cheat on their other partner, a person chooses to have a relationship outside their marriage, and there are a number of there are types of infidelity that we talk about. This can be physical infidelity, it can be emotional infidelity, it can also be a combination of both. And sometimes we actually have other types of infidelity that people will talk about, but generally they will all fall under the three major categories that I have mentioned. Allow me also to say that men are the ones who are more involved in physical infidelity. Women will also be more involved in emotional infidelity, and this is from research. But there are those who have the infidelities graduating to physical and emotional, which then becomes a very serious emotional and physical involvement, almost like a marriage, and makes it very difficult for the person to be able to build on a healthy relationship in their marriage. What are the signs to look for when we talk about infidelity? This may be very subtle. One, because the person who chooses to be involved in an affair is very discreet. They want to remain secret, so they can maintain a semblance of a good level of intimacy in their marriage, but they are still doing whatever they have chosen to do out there, and just as a way of not being found out. But there are other signs to look for where there is coldness, the four negative communication styles we talked about earlier, the critic, the person who defends themselves and is justifying themselves, the person who is very contemptuous to a point where someone feels there is no love, there is no care, and finally one partner ending up in stonewalling, and where there is lack of intimacy, there is emotional cutoff, there is no conversation or communication, and the only communication happening in this relationship is mainly about bills, where children go to school, which property are we buying, and therefore there is really never nothing about the couple relationship. And what you find people doing that predisposes them to affairs or to infidelity or to what is being called today entanglement is where then, because you're not having it at home, you're not laughing at home, you're not enjoying each other, that you have somebody you enjoy being with at the workplace. There is someone you are enjoying having lunch with, dinner with. And some of the signs, even for you who is almost getting involved in an affair, is when you catch yourself wanting to dress up. You're checking yourself how you look when you're going to the workplace, but you're not so concerned when you're going to meet your partner. But when you're going to the workplace or to the gym or to church, you find that you want to dress in a certain way, you want to look a certain way, you want to wear a certain cologne or a certain perfume so that you can present yourself in a certain way to the other person other than your partner. Other signs to look for is where you find that people become very secretive with their phones. You find people who will put their phones off completely when they get home, or they are going with their phones to the bathroom and you cannot access their phone as well. If the phone rings, they can almost run out of the bathroom naked, coming to pick their phone because they do not want anybody to pick it. If these things have not been happening before, this would be the signs that there's something to check. And there are many reasons why people are predisposed again to affairs. For some people, it's just seeking novel experience. And this, from my research, in my doctoral studies, my research was on extradyadic involvement by men. And one of the reasons that we discovered is that some of them are just seeking a novel experience, just to have a different experience from what they're having at home. But there are those also because of the vulnerability, where there is a lot lot of criticism, where there are a lot of fights, where there is no warmth at home, that would predispose them or make them vulnerable to having an affair. And today also, from the couples I have worked with, I have realized that women also will talk about the same thing. There is a bit of coldness, there is emotional cutoff that would make them feel predisposed to having an affair. When we are talking about these things, what would be the impact of having an affair? And I know anybody who is listening to this and may have gone through this will say it's very, very painful. One of the things I have discovered with the family lawyers I work with and the lawyers who refer couples to me, one of the main reasons why people go to court seeking divorce and separation is infidelity. It is not financial issues as we keep thinking about. It is not other work issues as people keep talking about. It is not even loss of jobs. It is really the unfaithfulness in the relationships and in the marriage. And when I'm working with couples, one of the main impact is almost trauma-like symptoms for the person who has been betrayed. This is a person who will be experiencing sleep problems because they're not able to sleep at night. They are having so many questions. They are asking, where did the rain start beating us? How did this begin? How come you went to seek somebody else? What is this that you lacked here? What was going on with your mind? And you see what you have done to the family after all this investment. So they are so disturbed. They wake up at night. If you're late, they are wondering, where is this person? If you dress in a certain way, they are wondering, who are you going to meet today? So they become what we call very hypervigilant. They want to check your emails. They actually want to hack them. They want to hire somebody to follow you and find out who you're with. So they are actually, their life is preoccupied with that issue. They ruminate a lot about it, and we have found individuals who are actually going through depression, going through anxiety because of infidelity. And some even have to be treated, to go through psychiatric treatment so that they can be able to be stable. Some couples have ended up being violent because of all these things. And as all this is happening, there's a major impact on the children because they are picking this negative vibe at home from the individuals. They are suffering because of what they can see mommy, daddy going through. And they are also able to see when the communication is very negative. Is there anything that happens to the betrayer? You may be asking. Yes. They also go through a lot of anxiety. They don't want to come home early because they are asking, gosh, I can't go to be asked the same questions again. I can't be asked to repeat the same story again. And they are really scared. They're also scared what may happen to the family. They are scared about what will become of their relationship and their life because they've also invested in it. And probably what they were doing in this extra dyadic involvement was not very meaningful. It was just passing time or a nice time or an emotional involvement that ended up being even a physical affair. So they are also impacted negatively, and they also would want to be taken through a healing process. What do we do with couples that present with such issues? You may be saying, Dr. Nancy, that cannot be worked on. I have had individuals tell me, for me, I need to go have an affair so that then we can be equal and we can start the healing process. And we say, two wrongs don't make a right. That is not going to support you in healing your marriage and healing your relationship. So for people who are ready to work on this, because it can be worked on, is where the person involved in the affair or the betrayer must be willing to be open. Be an open book. Talk about how this began, where you have been, so that your partner does not get to discover a few things 2 months down the line that you never talked about, that you talked about this affair, but the one she doesn't know, you are still involved in another one. So be an open book. Leave your phone on the table. If they want to see it, they'll go to the phone and find that there is really nothing. But if you're still keeping the secrets, then what does your partner need to forgive? Because if you are being open, then they know what they are dealing with, and they will be ready to work on it. And as you become open, the next thing as the involved partner that you need to do is give an authentic and a genuine apology. Not just a sorry. where even tomorrow when they ask you the story, you're like, but I talked about this. You need to keep telling them, because healing and forgiveness is a process. You need to keep talking about it, and when they ask questions, that you'll be willing to talk about it because you are willing to heal. I talk about an affair like a wound. If you have a wound that is bandaged, for it to heal, we have to keep on bandaging it and cleaning it up and bandaging it again. And it does not, we don't just bandage once. That's the first story you said. And then you keep saying, but I bandaged it. No, we remove the bandage, we clean it up, and we bandage again until the doctor tells us we are good. The wound is dry. You can now walk again. You don't need a bandage. So you need to walk your partner through that process of them talking and them asking for forgiveness, so that hearing you talk about it, so that they can know what they are forgiving and they can heal from it. For the betrayed partner, as difficult as this is, if you have chosen, or even if you've chosen to stay in this relationship, for you to have your life meaningful and happy and joyful, you need to forgive. You need to ask for enough grace to be able to let go, so that you can be able to stay in this relationship or even walk out free, so that if you choose to be with another partner, then you're not going with the baggage of these previous relationships. I'm working with families where individuals are on their second and third marriage because they failed to deal with the issues in their first marriage. And what they are experiencing in their third marriage is what they failed to deal with. So if they had let go the issues in their first marriage, they would not have had to go to a third and a fourth relationship with the same baggage, and therefore are not being able to heal and live a meaningful life. So for the betrayed partner, the issue is forgiving, as painful as it is, and also learning to trust again. Learning to trust this relationship again. And then as we do that with the couples, we ask what they would want. If they would want to build their relationship, then there are steps that they are taken through to be able to heal from this wounding, from this damage, from this very painful process. And then what we have discovered in therapy, it is also in research, for couples who allow themselves to go through this, they actually live better. They actually enjoy a better marital relationship than what they may have had before, because they get to learn what predisposed them to the affair. They get to learn what made them vulnerable to this issue, and we root out those causes. If it was an insecurity that you came with into this relationship, if it was low self-esteem that you came with into this relationship, if it was intimidation and the person who is criticized or the person who stone walls a lot, then you're taken through skills of how to be assertive, skills of how to respect your partner, so that you can be able to build a healthy relationship, whether in this one that you have or in later ones that you may build. So this is possible to build this and work at making your life better and making your relationships meaningful, so you don't have to stay in the pain and you don't have to say you want to forget. Baggage unresolved is baggage passed on. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to Blossom with Dr. Nancy Nyaga for more on mental wellness, building healthy relationships, and coping with adverse life issues. Stay tuned.